Hi, my name is Rachelle Smith, Certified Master Fitness Trainer, Professional Speaker, and Author. Last time I highlighted 4 examples of positive disruption in terms of leadership that have occurred in the last 25 years in the fitness industry. Certainly an exciting time. So much is going on, so much has changed. And I look forward to continuing this conversation because this could be a 20-part episode as I talk about the changes and trends in the fitness industry. But I'll drop one in from time to time just to kind of catch everyone up and talk about some of the latest and greatest developments and innovation that have occurred in the industry. But there's been certainly a number of milestones that have marked the fitness industry over the last 30, 40, 50 years. And certainly a major milestone occurred back in 1965 with Joe Gold. You can see here, I have my gloves on, my workout gloves on. These are about to be put in the trash as I last week for my fitness anniversary got some purple gloves. But Gold's Gym branded workout gloves. I had these for about a couple of years. But Joe Gold was considered to be, passed away many years ago, was considered to be the father of fitness. And he founded Gold's Gym back in 1965. And that truly, he launched this whole concept of the chain fitness facility, the chain gym, which many others went on to emulate during that time period. But Gold's Gym. And so it essentially, many cases started with him. Obviously, people have been exercising in various ways informally since the beginning of time. But with Joe Gold, it's certainly a lot started with him. And so again, there's many people, company founders, other founders, other entities within the fitness industry could certainly pay homage to and respect to the late Joe Gold, because he really, really, really got this industry on a very different track, and it's centered on a different trajectory. And so one thing he did, obviously he launched a chain of gyms, but he also, many of his fitness equipment, fitness apparel can be found in retailers across the country. And actually, I bought these from Walmart. So he certainly launched, of course, not only a chain of gym, but launched a movement. And so again, he was part of that whole bodybuilding craze. If you look back to the early bodybuilding years, where you could see essentially Gold's Gym right there in Venice, California. A lot started right there. In the 60s, of course, in the 70s, you had other chains come on board, such as 24-Hour Fitness. You've got the Davish Brothers, Powerhouse Gym, also in that bodybuilding age in the 70s, World Gym, also during that time period. So much occurred in that industry around that time, around the bodybuilding era. And if there's certainly a wonderful, wonderful movie / documentary that I would recommend, it's Pumping Iron. It came out in 1977, and it chronicles Arnold Schwarzenegger's journey in his early years of bodybuilding, as well as Lou Ferrigno. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful documentary. It'll give you a lot of insight in terms of the whole bodybuilding era and how so much in the industry has come out of that era, and how popular bodybuilding was. And of course, it certainly remains a sport, certainly remains a lot of people active, a lot of professional bodybuilders and amateur bodybuilders. But certainly that's when it started. And as we'll talk about in this particular episode, that so much has shifted from those early years of fitness. And it's so interesting when you think about the very first Gold's Gym. It was 5,000 square feet. And so in subsequent years, you had some of the chain gyms, these big box, with the term the big box gyms that came along. And they essentially, many, many more 1,000 square feet, 50, 60, 70, 80 thousand square feet. And so what we see now is a shift, ironically, back to smaller facilities. All right, because there's a lot that it takes a lot to be able to run and to manage large facilities. And so, it's expensive. You're just constantly going to need to get new members and retain members. And it's just a lot to be able to maintain that. So it's interesting when we look back and we look now of where in the last 10 to 15 years moving forward, we see just these proliferation of smaller gyms, smaller boutique facilities. And essentially, again, we're kind of going back to the past and going back to basics, so to speak. So we had some wonderful gyms come out of that area in the bodybuilding era. But then what we saw, and as I mentioned, alluded to briefly in the last episode, in the year 2000, we got 2000, 2001. Greg Glassman came on the scene. He's a co-founder of CrossFit. And so what we see is a more from a workout standpoint, again, you had the Jane Fonda days where people doing step aerobics, and you've got, again, the chain gyms where people kind of come in, do their own thing, and there are also group fitness classes. But where Greg Glassman and that CrossFit craze, as so many people call it, came in, and he ushered in this whole new era of this heightened awareness, functional training. And so that's what you see in various iterations, whether it be a CrossFit studio, whether it be Orange Theory Fitness, which I also highlighted last week, where you see, 9-round fitness. I mean, there's so many different zip fitness. There's various different iterations where we can see training has become a lot more functional. And so, yes, you will always have the gyms. You're always going to have people like me, and I've never stepped foot in a group fitness class in my entire life, never will. I'm a lone ranger in the gym. So you're always going to have people like me that are going to prefer to just go in the gym and doing our own thing. But what we see now and where that trend has shifted, greater emphasis on group training, greater emphasis on functional training. And so those are certainly a lot of the changes that you'll see. Again, when we look back, whether it be from the corporate standpoint or where the franchise model in terms of fitness facilities, again, it can be various ones, whether it's Orange Theory Fitness or Lifetime Fitness. One thing that we see is from the earlier years when the founders and the co-founders would own their facilities, would keep their facilities for a while. What we see now is pretty much common, pretty much the standard. Is fitness gyms, fitness chains are owned and run primarily at the corporate level by private equity groups. Okay, we've got the powerhouse founder. Of course, the co-founder passed away in 2005, but literally the last man standing within that whole era of chain gyms. But he continues to run his franchise, continues to run, head up that on a national and on a global level. But what you see now is whether it be Lifetime Fitness, Planet Fitness, Orange Theory. I mean, there's all of these different Equinox, fitness, all of these different facilities, regardless of whether they're the Gold's Gym, which is a kind of corporate, where they have corporate facilities and they have the franchise model. So there's this hybrid model, or if you've got pure kind of corporate facilities or pure franchise or the hybrid model, as I just mentioned, pretty much the standard now is they're run by private equity groups. And so that has been a big shift where a lot of these founders will help their chains and their franchises experience a certain level of success. They'll get them there, but then the private equity groups come in and buy them out and take things in a different direction to another level. So very, 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 very interesting time in the fitness industry. And of course, as I alluded to, technology has been an amazing disruptor in the industry. I mean, just think about it. Who would have ever imagined? You can go on the Apple Store, you can go on Google Play Store, you can see there are actually apps now that are out there where, and who would have ever imagined this, that a person wouldn't have to meet with a trainer in person to receive personal training. All right, there's apps where you can train from the comfort of your home with a trainer, from the comfort of your office. You don't even have to leave where you are, just due to technology. All right, there's a couple of guys who are working on a very fascinating business model out of Ohio State University. A couple students looking to build a franchise model and listen to these trainers around, essentially, when you think about hair salons and barber salons, where you have that concept of they're paying booth rent, and they, pay the owner a certain amount each week or a certain amount each month. And so that typically tends to be a lot more profitable than if you were to, work for some type of, corporate salon or something where they're taking money off the top of what you earn, of your gross earnings. But you got a couple of guys, young guys out of Ohio State University who are looking to create that same model in fitness. And so instead of having the booth rent at a hair salon or a barber salon, at the barber shop, you've got the same model. That is, these guys are really hoping to develop that same model in fitness, where there would be a large fitness facility, but then there would be a group of trainers, and they would each have their own individual dedicated space within the facility to train. No more, kind of working around other trainers or anything like that. You've got your own space. You're paying on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. They're still working out the kinks in the business model, and going to be seeking funding and raising money and capital moving forward to really move that particular idea and concept forward. So technology and just this whole era of change All right, so much has changed. Okay, you could go on the internet, you can watch YouTube videos. You don't have to sign up for training or working on a personal trainer. You got people that got training videos on the internet. Okay, you don't need to essentially sit in a class to receive certification or education on your fitness journey. Whether if you're a student of fitness formally, or if you just again want to learn, grow, and develop on nutrition and fitness and health and wellness. Okay, there's classes, there's courses, there's workshops, there's so much that has occurred, again, not only in person, but also just via the internet. Technology has made that possible. It is just absolutely amazing how so much has changed. Okay, another very big change in the fitness industry is this concept of reciprocity when it comes to facilities in particular. All right, we've got, just to utilize an example of it, as I highlighted last episode, Planet Fitness has really disrupted the industry again with that $10 model, and they've been very successful with that. But they also have the Step Up, the $19.99 Black Card membership. But where they've come in and others have had to follow suit is where, again, for $19.99 a month, you get that Black Card. You can go to any one of their 1,300 facilities. All right, and the same is true, of course, for Anytime Fitness. You can join one of their facilities, and after 30 days, you have access to all of their facilities around the world. And so what that has forced other chains to do is to take note. And while the YMCAs aren't officially, again, they're not commercial, they're not commercialized, they're not officially a chain, but they're everywhere. YMCAs have been around forever. They're ubiquitous. They're not going anywhere. And so, but what you start to see even the YMCAs are doing state by state, and that they're following suit to that and saying, okay, well, if you join the YMCA here, we have a reciprocity agreement where you can go to any of the other YMCAs for no charge. And so again, what one entity or one chain or one franchise can cause disruption in the industry, or one corporate location can cause disruption in terms of, okay, you join one, you join them all essentially. And so over time, that forces the other competitors within the industry to follow suit. Because again, $19.99 a month, you go to any Planet Fitness. That is just remarkable. That is just remarkable that occurs. But that puts pressure on all the others to say, well, okay, if they're doing it, okay, now Anytime Fitness is doing it. And that's a very big competitive disadvantage for other chains who aren't doing it. Because again, if you join one and you're kind of stuck at one location, it can be a big issue, or it is a big issue for people. Because again, those disruptors have come in and changed the market where that's just the norm. That didn't used to be. All right, it didn't used to be. You joined one gym, that was your gym, that was it. If you go to another member of that franchise or another franchise facility within that brand, you had to pay $5, $10, whatever the case may be. But now the disruption is rapidly changing the industry where it's, hey, you join one, you join them all. All right, so it's a business decision. Some people choose not to do that, but it's just a huge competitive disadvantage not to be able to do that right now in the industry. But technology has been huge. We've got the number one trend has been for 2017, the fitness industry, is trackable wearable devices. And so that's a huge craze now. It's huge for a lot of people where they can track their activity and they can get reports and they can have these competitive things with other people on Fitbit and things like that to hold themselves and hold each other accountable. All right, so wearables, a lot of people are into that. It's been very, very big in the last couple of years or so. Really, really, really changed a lot of what has occurred in the industry. Because again, from that standpoint, people don't necessarily need a trainer or a group fitness instructor to help to keep them motivated and to hold them accountable. They can hold one another accountable. A spouse and a significant other, spouses can say, hey, let's both get Fitbits, let's both have a competitive challenge, let's both do this thing and see how we come out on the other end. Because research has shown in the fitness industry is that accountability is huge. As long as people are held accountable, but also competition is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful addition and a way to enhance accountability and results in the fitness industry. All right, it's one thing for a trainer to say, okay, we're going to meet 3 times a week and this and that, but you give someone a competitive challenge, you give friends the ability to compete with each other and hold each other accountable for activity and for timing. It changes so much, and this research has shown just the results for that are just much greater than otherwise. And so, folks, it's an exciting time in the industry. Like I said, I'll cover more of these trends and current current events and things as they happen in the fitness industry, but certainly just, again, it starts back to Joe Gold and the industry and how he just really was a marker, a milestone for all that we see now in the industry. Just an exciting time. And we got your top gyms in America, again, on the franchise side. Again, when you look at the rankings, you've got your Anytime Fitness, obviously #1 global brand, Anytime Fitness, your Planet Fitness, your Orange Theory Fitness. 9 Round is coming up there, and certainly growing on the more corporate side. You've got your Lifetime Fitness, you've got your 24-hour fitness, you've got Gold's Gym. Actually, Gold's Gym, ironically, even though they have the hybrid model, as I alluded to last time, in the 2016 J.D. Power and Associates member satisfaction survey, Planet Fitness was #2, Gold's Gym was #1. So again, those private equity groups. Also Equinox Fitness, certainly a top-ranked gym. Looking at various rankings, Club Industry Magazine, Athletic Business Magazine. I mean, there's the Franchise 500, Entrepreneur Magazine rankings. There's various different rankings, but you'll see again these couple of handful of gyms that just continue. 24-hour fitness, as I alluded to, Equinox Fitness, which charges between $150, $250 a month. A real swanky, probably the most swankiest chain in the country, but again, owned by private equity groups. And unfortunately, they had that situation in Miami where you had a disgruntled former fitness trainer who was fired for workplace violence and came back about an hour later and killed on site. Came in with a gun, killed the fitness manager and the general manager. And so very unfortunate, and it'd be interesting to see how and if that impacts their brand and their standings in the industry. But certainly they were way up there in terms of the rankings, and Equinox Fitness certainly worked hard to have that premium image, and we'll see how that impacts them in the future. But most importantly, it's just the safety of your members and what you can do to ensure that level of safety. I think is a best practice and learning opportunity for all facilities to really take into account. Because tragedies like that happen, and so you've got to protect yourselves. And so, folks, change is good. Change is happening. Innovation is a wonderful thing, and the fitness industry will continue to grow, continue to evolve. And I look forward to continuing this conversation on innovation and change and positive disruption in future episodes. Thanks so much for your time. Make it a wonderful day.